Welcome to Lincoln Fire and Rescue. I'm your host, Dale Johnson. Today on Lincoln Fire and Rescue, everything you want to know about Lincoln's new fire engines, the updated rigs that Lincoln will be getting here, not only the ones that are on order, the ones that have arrived, the ones that will be ordered. We're going to take a look at the old, the new, and the yet to arrive rigs today with Kendall Warnock. Kendall is Division Chief of Logistics for Lincoln Fire and Rescue. Got it right here, Kendall. Got the specs.
That does
right
look
here.
like
okay.
the specs.
Specs. You can see specs here. You can see here's the 64-page report. Here's the 164-page report. Read every bit of it. Read every.
Well, there was a lot of work that went into those specs.
But you did read every bit of that. You had to, because
yeah,
these are the fire engines rigs that are coming to Lincoln.
It takes a lot of support. We have a fire apparatus committee that I depend on quite a bit. A lot of smart people on that committee, made up of firefighters, FAOs, company officers at Lincoln Fire and Rescue. But none of that would be possible without the support of City Council. Mayor-elect Gaylor Baird was pivotal in getting us some extra funding in the last 18 months, and Chief Despain's been great leading the way.
This is everything from the cooling system to the exhaust, axle, steering, cab, brakes, everything on the side, underneath, on top, inside. Everything is spec'd out and you, the fire department, LFR, giving the orders on ordering these things, have that freedom to be able to spec this thing down exactly the way you want.
Well, I think today's society drives us to have pretty much microscopic oversight of these specs. So yeah, we have to spec all the way from tires to what kind of valves that they're putting on the water pumps, to the HVAC systems, to the lighting packages. We have to get pretty detailed, and that's what we have that committee for.
You and I were here 4 or 5 years ago. We were talking about the shape of the fleet. Your memory's better than mine. So I'll ask you, how were you characterizing the fleet at that point?
Well, we were certainly what I would describe as on life support with our fire apparatus. No pun intended, but we were in bad shape. And we did get some funding a few years ago. We presented data to the City Council, pre-council in late last year. They ended up unanimously supporting us for an additional 2.8, I believe it was, additional funding. So we've come a long way, but again, it wouldn't be possible without the City Council and now Lincoln's new mayor, Gaylor Baird.
And we're talking fire engines and trucks.
Yep.
Correct.
Yep.
Trucks are the ladders. Trucks are the ones with the ladders on them, just to differentiate them for viewers. And trucks, engines, are the pumper trucks, pumper apparatus.
Yeah.
Right.
And for the first time in 19 years, we have a line item budget for apparatus expenses. It took a long time to get that back into the line item funding. It's $500,000 each year, but we're certainly grateful to see that and know that we can depend on that year in, year out.
That has not existed for decades.
19 years.
Yeah.
It's been 19 years.
Yeah. What's the cost of a fire truck and a fire engine?
Well, they're not cheap,
No.
as you and I certainly know. On average, a fire engine is $500,000. A fire truck or aerial, you're looking at about $1 million.
So characterize the fleet today.
Yeah.
Fast forward 4 or 5 years.
Yeah. So we've made significant progress. We still have some apparatus that need to be replaced, but I would categorize our fleet as good. Now it'll be great. January 1, 2019, when these new apparatus, new engines get here.
There is a grading. We have a graphic that shows a grading system, and if we look at the differences, color differentiation, green meaning everything's an A, to what isn't an A, we can see that not quite half of the rigs are in the A category. Those are the ones that have been replaced.
Those are the newer ones, and you can see by the years they're 2015 and newer. So that's the significant progress that we've made in the last couple of years.
Too many Fs.
Yeah, we've got a ways to go. There's no doubt about it. Now we've seen less and less fire engines and fire trucks get towed in the last few years, which is a good thing. But we want to provide Lincoln Fire and Rescue, the men and women on the front line, apparatus to get to calls and help people, and that's the goal.
When ordering a fire rig, does it come the way we think of ordering a car? Is there a basic, a standard, and then you add CD players to it and the heated steering wheel, just to dumb it down for my purposes?
These are certainly all custom fire engines, and we build them that way so to match our fireground tactics and how we approach structure fires. So we just cannot go out and buy these off of a lot. It takes a lot of planning. It took about 6 months to get these specs together with multiple meetings from the apparatus committee, and then it typically takes about a year to see the first one. So there's no cookie cutter apparatus that we purchased in the past, and we won't do that in the future either.
And what is important, what's unique to Lincoln, Kendall, that you have crafted into these specs that serve Lincoln that might not serve another community?
Well, you have to think of, if it's a bigger community or a smaller community, they want to do things probably a little bit differently than we do. Our compartments are spec for each of our specific tools that we have tested and researched and developed. We're getting to the point where we're seeing a lot of electronic valves on the waterways now. That's going to be beneficial for not only the drivers, the fire apparatus operators, company officers that are commanding an incident, and us in logistics as well.
And it takes, I believe you said, how long does it take from order to arrival?
Typically 365 days. That's the average in the fire world. Yeah.
Take me under, beside, on top, inside. I'll equate it to a motorcycle. If I had my choice, I would order heated handlebar grips, okay? That's not standard. I would order that, all right? Those are the little extra gifts that we give to ourselves when we order things like this. What have you included from a logistical, you're the chief of logistics, so you see things through your eyes differently than I do. So what do you see, what have you ordered that gets you excited that maybe doesn't someone else?
Well, it's going to get all of the men and women at Lincoln Fire and Rescue excited because we've done some things with these new ones with independent front suspension, disc brakes in the rear, parabolic springs. I'm getting in the weeds a little bit with some language there, but the HVAC systems that are typically in the inside of the cab is now on the top of the cab. All of that is going to equate to better functionality, better driving, hopefully lesser injuries with back injuries that we've seen when we've had some issues with apparatus that are a little rough. But a lot of good things that we're going to see come to fruition here this fall.
Are you afforded the opportunity to check on your order as they build it online?
Yeah, so we'll do multiple spot checks and we'll go to the actual factory that they're building. So we'll do a pre-construction meeting, we'll do a pre-paint, we'll do a post-paint, so multiple steps along the way that we'll get our eyes on it. The committee will go with me as well, and we'll make sure that we're getting them built the right way.
Are the rigs that are coming into Lincoln today, are they as capable of a long life as the ones that are being replaced?
Yeah, I think with technology moving forward, we're going to get a little bit longer lifespan out of these, and certainly some of the things that we've done with the mechanical side of it, we should see some longevity. Now, 10, 15 years, it's a long time for a fire truck and a fire engine. So hopefully we'll see 10 to 15 out of these. And then hopefully that funding will stay there. It'll grow a little bit so we can grab an aerial and a truck potentially next year in 2019, September 1st-ish. And I think they'll last quite a while for us.
I've talked quite a bit with the chief. I've even had conversations with you about the creativity that's necessary in order to keep some of these older rigs. I've talked to a mechanic or two in my relationship with LFR too, and there's some amazing imagination that goes on to keep these rigs on the street.
The older ones, certainly we've had to fabricate in-house quite a few parts for them. But again, that's part of the story, and that's part of our apparatus history, and We've gotten to the point where we have the elected officials' support. We certainly have the public and the citizens' support. So we're looking forward to getting this thing even in better shape this fall.
Because as the chief's all about outcome.
Yeah, yep.
He's all
yep.
about
Yep.
the outcome.
Yep.
And if you can't get a rig there
Yeah.
on time,
That's a problem.
the outcome suffers.
That's a problem.
You know?
Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
but let's go back to the city officials that have sort of started this momentum. Because you can go to the council, the chief can go to the council. You could stand on soapboxes all over the city, and if the money doesn't come from the city that writes the checks, it doesn't happen. So. Take us into that process too, because you've been there from the beginning of all this.
Yeah, you know, the data that we put together with that scoring mechanism and that scoring matrix has helped, because it gets an A, B, C, D, F type of grading system, and Chief Despain came up with that. We get that in front of them, and we support that with data, with this is how much we're putting into an apparatus, this is how much it costs us. So a lot of good things went on behind the scenes, and it took a lot of years to get it built up to have some good solid data for them to make decisions.
Again, we just saw that graphic of A's. The rigs right now, it's less than half have been replaced.
Yep.
There are new ones on the way that
Yep.
will shift that A grade down, and it'll go from less than half to almost 2/3.
Yeah.
So some of these engines will be replaced. And
Yeah, some of the F there that you see towards the bottom is those will be eliminated from the fleet. We'll sell them on the city auction. We'll probably see that upgraded January 2019. That'll look a lot better.
I see engine 11. That's back in the 20th century, for
Yeah.
heaven's sakes.
Yep.
that's 1999 getting
Yep.
an F there on
Yep.
that right-hand side for 2018.
Yeah, yeah,
The oldest, is that the oldest rig still
is.
in the fleet?
it is.
And if there was a call at this moment, it could respond.
Yeah, we
couldn't
feel
it?
pretty good about it. We don't have a crystal ball certainly, but we in this division, it's day in, day out. We make sure that those apparatus and medic units are ready to go.
And I've been privileged to be part of the ceremonies, a couple of ceremonies, when a new rig arrives,
Yep.
and the neighborhood shows up and comes out, and they bring their folding chairs,
Yep.
and they bring cookies for the firefighters. That's a celebration,
And it's
too.
important. It's important. It's a celebration for the community. It's a celebration for the area of the town that we're in, that they are in. So a lot of good things going on underneath Chief Despain's watch.
And I would certainly suggest that if a new rig comes to a station in your neighborhood, you carve out some time, take some time. Cookies don't hurt either, but be part of that celebration at a fire station.
Yeah, yeah.
near
We would
you.
like that too.
Yeah, Kendall, thank you very much.
Hey, thank you.
Always good spending
you.
time.
Good to
I got
see
some
you.
more reading to do. Here. Okay. And thanks everybody for being part of Lincoln Fire and Rescue. I'm Dale Johnson.
She's not breathing.
And now to that incredible rescue, all thanks to a very smart app for your smartphone. Watch this big man spring it into action. We got a
Pulse Point is active in Lincoln and free in the App Store. Download it today. You could be the one.